Alright, now this is Matthew chapter 10, verse 1. It says, And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits, to cast them out and to heal all men of sickness and all men of disease. So these are his 12 disciples. Now the name of the 12 apostles are these. Now it said disciples, didn't say apostles, because the word apostle means sent away. They were disciples. They were followers of Yahushua, followers of the Lord. And apostle means sent away. So eventually they were sent away to go out and teach, to gather up fruit to the kingdom of heaven, for the kingdom of heaven, to gather believers, in other words. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these. The first, Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, Matthew the publican, James the son of Alphaeus, and Lebbaeus, whose surname was Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. So those are the 12 disciples, or 12 apostles. So we already established that James the son of Alphaeus is who? James the Less. Alright? We got that established. Right? So now we established that James the son of Alphaeus is talking about James the Less. Now let's go to Luke the 6th chapter now. Luke chapter 6 verse 13. And when it was day, he called unto him his disciples, and of them he chose 12, whom also he named apostles: Simon, whom he also named Peter, and Andrew his brother, James and John, who are the sons of Zebedee, Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew and Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, who is James the Less, Simon called Zelotes or Zealot, and Judas the brother of James, and Judas Iscariot, which also was the traitor. So you have who? You have Simon, who's also Peter, Andrew, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James son of Alphaeus, Simon Zealot. You have Judas the brother of James, and Judas Iscariot. Those are the 12 disciples. One thing you notice is that all of those names that appear in Luke chapter 6 are the same names that appear in Matthew chapter 10. The only difference is that instead of seeing Lebbaeus, surnamed Thaddeus, you see Judas the brother of James in his place, showing you that what? Judas or Jude and Thaddeus, also known as Lebbaeus, are who? The same person. Lebbaeus, Thaddeus, Judas, known as Judas was the brother of James. They're all a part of that's all the 12. They just goes by the different names that they known by. Okay, so they all had these different names. Just as Matthew was known as Levi. Okay, so all of them were known. Many of them were known by different names. Not all of them, but many of them were known by different names. And this Jude, who's the brother of James, is Yahushua's brother. Okay? Because you have James, who's the son of Zebedee, and you have James, the son of Alphaeus. Those are the only two James that were part of the 12. And neither one of those James were the James that wrote the book of James. The James that wrote the book of James is Yahushua's brother. We already went to this in the last part. Alright? And Judas, the brother of James, Judas or Jude, is Thaddeus, surnamed Lebbaeus. So that's what that's talking about. Or Lebbaeus, surnamed Thaddeus. Because if you look at Matthew 10 and you look at Luke 6, all of the names of the disciples are there. The apostles, they're all there. The only name that's not there in Luke chapter 6 is Lebbaeus, surnamed Thaddeus. That's in Matthew 10, but Lebbaeus, surnamed Thaddeus, is not in Luke 6. And in Luke 6 it says Judas, the brother of James, but it doesn't say that in Matthew 10. Showing you that Lebbaeus, surnamed Thaddeus, is talking about Judas, the brother of James. The only difference is that in Matthew 10 he's called Lebbaeus, surnamed Thaddeus. But in Luke 6 he's called Judas, the brother of James. So they're the same person. Okay? They're the same person. And James, the son of Alphaeus, that is James the Less. Okay? That is James the Less. Let's get some more scriptures on that real quick. Mark chapter 15 verse 40, it says, There were also women looking on afar off, among whom was Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James the Less and of Joses. So James the Less had a brother named Joses, and Salome. And Salome was the wife of Zebedee, and she was at the crucifixion. So James and John, brothers, who were brothers. Their father's name was Zebedee, and their mother's name was Salome. And James the Less, he had a brother named Joses, and his mother's name is Mary. As a matter of fact, let's go to Mary, the mother of James the Less. Not Mary, the mother of James the Less, Salome, real quick.
Strong's G 4539. Salome.
Salome. And what does it say here? Salome, peaceful, or shalom, which means peace. The wife of Zebedee, and the mother of the apostle James, the elder, and John. See, so Salome was the mother of James the elder and John. So she was the wife of Zebedee, and she was the mother of James the elder and of John. Okay? And James the Less, whose brother name was Joses, his mother name was Mary. So now we know the difference between both James. We know Salome, who's the mother of James and John, and we know Mary is the mother of James the Less. So when you read about James and John, who are the sons of Zebedee, that James is talking about who they called James the Greater. In other words, he was higher in rank. He was the James. He was the one that Yahushua took with him. When Yahushua would go off, he would take Peter, James, and John with him. Well, that was the James. Okay? Whose father is Zebedee, and whose mother is Salome. And the other James, James son of Alphaeus, also known as Cleophas, his mother's name is Mary, but he was known as James the Less. All right. Now let me get 1 Corinthians 15. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 22. For as in Adam all die, even so in Yahushua shall all be made alive, but every man in his own order. Yahushua the first fruits, after they that are Yahushua's at his coming. So the point was where it said every man in his own order. So there's order. Okay? So you had rank among the disciples. Alright? That's the point I wanted to get to right there. Let me get another scripture. I want to go to the book of oh yeah, and when you go back to Luke the 6th chapter, let me go back to that real quick. Now remember we went to Luke 6 and it said, and Judas the brother of James, and Judas Iscariot, which also was the traitor. So that shows you had more than one Judas, but one was known as Iscariot. Okay, one was known as Iscariot. And when you go to the book of St. John, the 14th chapter, St. John 14 and 19, yet a little while and the world seeth me no more, but ye see me, because I live, ye shall live also. At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be beloved of my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. Judas said unto him, not Iscariot, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us, and not unto the world? Now Judas said this unto him, not Iscariot. So what Jew was this? His brother, Lebbaeus, surnamed Thaddeus. Judas, the brother of James. The brother of James that was not a part of the 12, but wrote the book of James. The one the Apostle Paul spoke of in the book of Galatians, the 1st chapter, where he said he saw James, the Lord's brother. Okay? So that was that Jude, or that Judas. Because these are all common names. James, Joses, John, these were common names among Israel, among children of Israel. Okay? Let me get another scripture. This is the book of St. John, chapter 1, verse 44. Now Philip was of Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. So you had disciples that lived among one another, in the same area. Philip findeth Nathanael, and saith unto him, we have found him, in whom Moses in the law, and the prophets did right, Yahushua of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. And Nathanael said unto him, Can there any good thing come out of Nazareth? Philip saith unto him, Come and see. Yahushua saw Nathanael coming to him, and said of him, Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom is no guile, in other words, no deceit. Nathanael said unto him, Whence knowest thou me? Like, how you know who I am? Yahushua answered and said unto him, Before that Philip called thee, when thou wast under the fig tree, I saw thee. In other words, I saw you under the fig tree before Philip had called you. And then Nathanael says, Nathanael answered and saith unto him, Rabbi, or teacher, thou art the Son of the Most High, thou art the King of Israel. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Because I said unto thee, I saw thee under the fig tree, believest thou? Thou shalt see greater things than these. In other words, he's saying that I'm the Son of the Most High. He believed he was, but he said, what, because I saw you under the fig tree? Because I knew who you were before Philip went to go get you? You're going to see greater things than these. That's just a small thing. Yeah, I knew who you were before Philip went to go get you, but that's just a small thing. Because he's like, how do you even know who I am? Now, who's Nathanael? Because Nathanael is also a part of the 12. Nathanael's also a part of the 12, but when you go to Luke 6, and when you go to Matthew 10th chapter, you don't see the word Nathanael there. St. John 21:1. After these things, Yahushua showed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias, and on this wise showed he himself. They were together, Simon Peter, and Thomas called Didymus, and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, which Didymus means twin. That real quick. I don't want to go into all of their names.
Strong's G 1324. Didymus.
Twofold or twain, or some places it says twin. It's right there, i.e. twin or double. So let's go back. It says they were together, Simon Peter and Thomas called Didymus, and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, and the sons of Zebedee, James and John, whose mother was who? Salome, and two other of his disciples. So right there is acknowledging that he was among the disciples. He was a disciple himself. This is well known if you read the scriptures. Okay? After when we read the book of St. John, the first chapter, that was when Yahushua was gathering the disciples up. That's why Philip said, what, we found the one that Moses and the prophets spoke of in the law. That's why he went to go get Philip, and he told that to him. So Nathanael was one of the disciples. But which disciple was he? Because his name doesn't appear in Matthew chapter 10 or Luke chapter 6. And I'm going to end this right here. This is Mark the 3rd chapter. There's another part of the Gospels where the 12 disciples are mentioned. Mark, Luke, and Matthew. Mark 3:13. And he goeth up into a mountain, and calleth unto him whom he would, and they came unto him. And he ordained 12, that they should be with him, and that he might send them forth to preach, and to have power to heal sicknesses, and to cast out devils. And Simon he surnamed Peter, and James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James. I says Simon he surnamed Peter, and James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James, and he surnamed them Boanerges, which is the sons of thunder, and Andrew and Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus, who's surnamed Lebbaeus, or Lebbaeus surnamed Thaddeus, who's also known as Jude, and Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot. Okay? So you see Peter, you see James, you see John, who's his brother. They're known as the sons of thunder. You see Andrew, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James, son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, who's also known as Lebbaeus, who was Jude or Judas, not Iscariot. That's talking about the Lord's brother. Simon the Canaanite, who's also known as Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot. That's the 12. But guess what? There's no Nathanael here. We already read Matthew 10. We already read Luke 6. The word Nathanael doesn't appear there. So who would Nathanael have to be? Nathaniel would have to be Bartholomew. That's who Nathaniel would have to be by process of elimination. He would have to be Bartholomew. Okay? Matter of fact, let me even check here. They might even have it on blue letter. I haven't even checked it. Bartholomeos.
Strong's G 918. Bartholomeus.
Bartholomeos.
Bartholomeus.
See, they don't even have it here. But that's who we're talking about. Alright? Talking about Nathaniel. So, with that being said, I think I can get one more thing real quick. Alright, this is Matthew chapter 10, verse 3. I'm gonna go right to the point. You look at the word, if you go to the word Lebbaeus, it just says one of the 12 apostles. But you go to the word Thaddeus.
Strong's G 2280. Thaddeus. Thaddeus.
Thaddeus. It says Thaddeus, large-hearted, courageous, one of the 12 apostles. From a comparison with the catalog of the apostles in Luke 6 and 16 and Acts 1:13, which you read previously, it seems that Judas, Lebbaeus, and Thaddeus were the same person and the writer of the book of Jude. There we go. So now you got the 12 disciples. So with that, we're going to close. I'm going to say, oh, praise you. How about Shema Shah? That belongs to the elders to the apostles of GMS. I hope you brothers learned something. Shalom.